tagged in a video by someone who was like, here's some facts. And the video was just another popular creator on here saying manifestation is pseudoscience and pointing at the link in her bio. And I, of course, disagree and said as much and said, I am also literally an expert in psychoanalysis, right? And the creator responded to me and said, you are literally a fan of psychoanalysis. Incorrect. I have read over 200 related sources. I am a PhD candidate with a dissertation draft in a related topic. I am literally an expert, not a fan. And I said so, and I didn't say anything excessively rude, anything beyond that. I got blocked. I didn't even have a chance to, no one cared what I actually had to say about the sources. And they weren't good sources. They didn't actually say what she was very smugly insisting they said. I disagree with her conclusions based on those sources. And I'm speaking as an expert. Okay, and here's why I'm taking time to mention this. It's not just because I want to wallow. It's because I'm noticing a parallel or a pattern here in the manifestation space of discourse. And I'm noticing that it's very parallel to that kind of archetypal argument between a Christian and an atheist. And I'm not talking universally. Like, I know I have been a Christian. I have been an atheist. I know good Christians. I know good atheists, right? And yet we can all imagine like the quintessential, worst Christian and worst atheist to have an argument with. The Christian is just so patriarchal, colonizing, just a problem. The atheist, meanwhile, is also not getting it, right? Because they're like, well, according to facts and logic and according to science, there is no God and it's proven wrong and this is ridiculous. And like, no, like there's something in between. There's something human in between. Like, of course there's something spiritual about the world, somewhere in the middle. I am noticing that a similar dynamic is taking place in the manifestation space. I just got tagged in a video.
TikTok just sent me the most specific. I had a specific thought and TikTok sent it to me. And it was very specific. And I didn't say it and it had nothing to do with anything I was doing. I just thought it and it was very specific. I think that this algorithm is really good. I think this algorithm is smart. I think it is very interesting how well this algorithm works. We are a hive mind. That's my conclusion. We are a hive mind.
Would you say this to a kid that's dying of cancer or to the parents of a child who's dying of cancer? Would you? And I don't want to hear like, oh, it doesn't work like that with kids, or why do you always bring up such intense examples? That's not an intense example, that's real. If you're going to say that you attract disease, then you need to be ready to put your money where your mouth is when it gets real serious. And I pray from the bottom of my heart that you do not take money to read people's tarot cards. And if you believe stuff like this, then to me that level enters the level of criminal. If you're taking money for it. You have been in my comments before. There's this thing called scrolling. It's crazy. You can just scroll people away. If you don't like me, please move on. But, peace and light and love to you, babe. It probably seems like I'm so against any form of spirituality and that I don't believe in any sort of magic or anything, but that's not true. And I feel like with what I talk about on my account, it's important to explain that I do believe, and I'm very, very spiritual. I don't know what I believe in. I'll explain that in a second. But I don't want to like crush people's hope. Like if I had found my videos like 10 years ago, like yes, it would have been very, very helpful and I wish I had. But it also like shatters people's reality, like in certain ways, or it can, like if you're so deep into Abraham Hicks and the spiritual version of quantum physics that they are saying is science, and like if you see something, it can really shatter you. So I want to be careful. That's why I want to do podcasts and long form content where I can like give more nuance and explain an entire picture of something. So long story short, if you watch this series on Netflix, you will understand what I believe in now. I believe things like psychedelic therapy, ketamine therapy, I think that, plant medicine, all of these things, ancient tradition shows us that there is another realm, right? I don't know how to explain this without getting in trouble on this app. These are things that I believe in. I believe that people for all of time have used this and we have known this. And that's where I think that it connects to magic and ancient traditions. I also have to figure out how to respect ancient traditions as I'm talking about all this stuff. But then I also think on top of all that, there's science that we need to respect as well, and things that we know now in 2022. So like, how can we combine all of these things? Like, I think that quantum physics proves that there is like all these things that we don't understand, but all we can't quantify the mystical. And I think that it's even mystical that we're even alive, right? I hope I'm making sense. I'm very into near-death research too, like true controlled near-death studies. I think that that shows that consciousness absolutely moves on. So I am very spiritual. I'm very like, I believe that there's life after this, and that there's crazy synchronicities here and that. And I've even had crazy experiences in the New Age spiritual community. But I think anybody telling you that they know how to control it, if they're charging you money for it, I just think that humans can twist it in their own power. And I don't believe that energy works in the way that the New Age spirituality community in the US tells us that it does under capitalism. Yes, that's how I feel about it. I hope that makes sense.
We create our reality. So if you give life to something, then it exists. And I think that...
All right, that's it. We need to talk. You have 1.1 million followers, and this is the kind of stuff you're saying. Alex, you say we create reality, so I wanted to be essayed as a kid, hits by lots of kid, bullied, never gets a girlfriend. You should look into past life karma. The New Age spirituality community getting away with saying stuff like this, saying that generational trauma is what causes cancer, is you guys get to explain away all of the horrible, horrendous things that happen in this world with generational curses and childhood trauma, and then you put the blame back on the victim. I'm so sick of it, and it needs to stop.
Oh, it really gets exhausting when people come to you for advice, and then when you say something, then they attack you for the advice you gave. Don't ask me for advice, okay? Just don't ask me for advice if you're not going to be happy with what I have to say. So I recently had, which by the way, I don't think the person actually replied. It was other people being upset about what I said. I recently had somebody comment on my video listing a lot of negative things that had happened to them in their life. One thing after the other, after the other, after the other. And, you know, SA was a part of that and was like, I don't understand, like, why do all these negative things happen to me? And my response was, you should definitely look into like karmic curses, generational curses, stuff that we didn't necessarily create. That's why we get stuck in karmic cycles. Our soul gets stuck with karma over and over. Like, we come to this earth school to learn a lesson or to help people, and somehow our soul gets stuck in a negative timeline. When I got my past life reading done, they said I got stuck in a negative timeline right away and I had to restart. So I literally haven't even noticed that I've been getting attacked. I haven't even looked at the videos that people have replied. I didn't read through the messages or through the comments because I was like, I'm not giving energy to you guys who don't understand what I'm saying. You're like, people are like, oh, so you're victim blaming. So you're victim blaming. You think she asked for this? You think this is her karma? No, you guys. I'm saying that we carry karma from our ancestors. Who knows if somebody put a spell on this soul that went through, and now we're here to break the curse. What we can do is figure out a way to break these curses that have been put upon our soul that we didn't cause. So don't sit here and attack me for trying to turn a positive spin into how to overcome this just because you don't understand how all of this shit works. Keep scrolling.
Hey Alex, couple points here, couple things I just wanted to say. Number one, maybe if you're gonna be a full-time influencer, don't be pissed when people ask you advice. I don't know. People are gonna be asking you a lot of advice. Number two, if you don't have answers, then don't act like you do. Thank you so much. I don't want to be nasty with you. Like, I really don't. There's no point. You don't even know who I am. I know that video wasn't specifically like towards me. But hi, yeah, I was really hurt by that kind of stuff. So I'm asking you to look into the dark sides of like what you are peddling. Do you understand that telling people that their thoughts create their reality can seriously cause people to have psychotic breaks, to go into spiritual psychosis, to have their OCD run wild, to have manic states like ruin their entire life. If you're going to be talking about this stuff, I would appreciate that you educate yourself on this topic and on complex PTSD, autism, and all the things I mentioned in my last video, and brain injury, and how when you're dealing with people who have different mental, physical disabilities or anything of that nature, you can't just make these like or just anybody. You don't get to like make these blanket statements about how if you just heal your trauma, you'll heal your body. That's the point. I was in your live earlier and I asked if you did readings and you got mad. You were like, ugh, I'm so sick of people who are essentially like so stupid. You said, you were like, if you can't be discerning enough to know that an account isn't me, if you paid for that, like, pff, okay. You're telling people things like their essay is some curse that was possibly put on a spell on their grandmother's something. But you're asking us to be discerning? People who are traumatized and suffering, and I saw people in your live too, who were like, I'm suffering so much, I'm suffering so much. This is part of my issue with the New Age spirituality community, is when the going gets rough, when people ask real questions, then it turns into like, oh, I don't know. There's so much we don't know. But you can so boldly say, like all this other stuff, or that like this portal is opening and you better do this affirmation that I posted because otherwise you'll miss it. Part 3 coming next, because I have a whole list of things that I would really appreciate if you listen to. If you don't and you hate me, I actually understand that, but this is seriously coming from someone who is so hurt by this, and I'm asking you to listen genuinely. I get messages from people every single day that are in the depths of hell because of this kind of stuff. Seriously.
Oh, it really gets exhausting.
I knew I was going to get mass reported. I knew it. I told myself, I said, don't make these videos about Alex. You don't need to make these videos. You're going to get your ass reported. I've gone like a week. I knew I was going to get mass reported. I knew it. I told myself, I said, don't make these videos about Alex. You don't need to make these videos. You're going to get your ass reported. I've gone
I did and do apologize for misgendering this person. I just straight up never looked at their bio pronouns and haven't seen their content before today. I will correct for that going forward. Hey kiddo, so I wasn't gonna rub it in, but since these ignorant hate videos keep trickling in, I think I do need to set the record straight. So first of all, I did apologize for misgendering this person in multiple comments and videos, and subsequent to realizing that I had misgendered them, I have not made that mistake. I have gendered them correctly. As far as their race, actually they're a white person. I don't know if you followed all those comments, but their claim to being BIPOC, which is what they were using as a cudgel to speak over me, who's also a non-binary autistic person, was that they're Black Irish. If you know what Black Irish means, it just means you have dark hair. There's no historical oppression there. It has nothing to do with skin. So this person actually falsely claimed BIPOC status. And again, I think my intuition was really, really good here.
No, because this is one of the biggest problems in New Age spirituality, aside from it just